Whiskey 61 Lounge. It's Mississippi's only food sports show on the airwaves.
We're the only World Food Championship host in the state.
This is the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
Lunch today brought to you by Bulldog Burger in Ridgeland, Starkville, and Tupelo. Bulldog Burger. Amazing burgers. Their chicken sandwich is delicious. And check out their spring rolls as an appetizer and their onion rings all at Bulldog Burger. Lake Harbor in Ridgeland, and then, of course, Starkville and Tupelo. Show is also presented by Fueling Up at Fleetway Market, over 20 locations in the state of Mississippi, including Fleetway Market in Gluckstadt, the Market Cafe. We've got our next guest on the Corona Premier Guest Line. I saw him last week in Atlanta. Roll Tide Insider, Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, afternoon drive. Jimbo Fisher's biggest fan. He's joining us on the Out of Bounds Show. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Man, I am doing great. It's, we're less than 2 weeks away from fall practice. Yeah, I'm so confused. I don't know what it is. But fall practice, it's been a long off season over here. It's been tough. It's been hard to get through. We've hosted a funeral. And after talking last week with, Nick Saban, I think everybody's playing for second place. I think this is going to be, it's going to be a beatdown. Everybody just line up. The Revenge Tour 2022 starts in 39 days.
39 days until Roll Tide gets kicked off with Utah State. That'll be a sleeper. And
55-0 first half. 55-0 first half.
I'm with you. Hey, are you going to Austin, Texas for the second game to see Saban and Sark?
If Texas was not coming into the SEC, I probably would make that trip. But this, it's hard to travel. See, my show ends at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So either I'm going to have to leave on Thursday at 6 or Friday at 6. And at 11 o'clock, if it was an evening game, I could probably pull it off because Southwest goes directly into Austin from Birmingham. I think it stops at Dallas. I think it stops at Love and then goes to Austin. But anyway, I'm not going to pull it off. Just 11 o'clock start. Why do they have primetime games at 11 o'clock in the Big 12?
Because it is, all right, it's a great TV viewing part of the day because people have moved around for a little while. They may consume a little game day. Look, man, they've got it. There's a reason why Fox is doing their big game, at 11 a.m. and ESPN's done more of it. Now, for those of us who want to do what you just described, it's a pain in the rear. But, all right, so I didn't even realize that was an 11-8. So that's Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary game. So last week, did you go on Sunday or Monday to Atlanta and to the SEC Media Days?
So I got there Sunday about 3, 4 o'clock. I was actually supposed to get there at noon. But see, I made a mistake, okay? My wife went with me, okay? And we stopped at the outlet center. And it was going to be a quick stop for a shoe place. I was in there for like 3.5 hours.
Oh, brutal.
I can't believe I made that mistake. I did. I said, they've got something over here. They got something over here. I sat out on that bench with them little kids riding those animals through the outlet center. I sit there and I watch them. They made about 15 laps. I'm just sitting right there. I looked through Facebook, Twitter. I was so bored. And I kept saying, are we going? I thought we got to get to Atlanta. Well, that doesn't start till tomorrow. Anyway, just one more store.
Okay.
Anyway, 3.5 hours later, Ryan's got a sunburn and, but we got 4 pairs of shoes to go with the 150 that we have right now when we get below. So
Well, so you got Bryce Young on your show, right?
I did Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
And had you had Bryce prior to that?
Nope. That was the first time I've had him on group media availability. When he stands in a group of 5 or 6 of us, and we have a conversation like that.
Okay.
But never one-on-one. That's the first time I've had him one-on-one.
And how was it?
It was great. He sounds like a veteran in the NFL. I think in that 6 minutes, I think I only got like 3 questions in. Like, I mean, he elaborates on everything. Like, you can ask him, and he's sitting in the seat. And I said, now, Bryce, I had the advantage because I just heard him down in one of the main rooms. I went down and I heard him downstairs talk about last year was a failure. And so when I brought him upstairs, or when they brought him upstairs to me, I asked him to elaborate on that. I said, I want you to explain to me why you thought last year was a failure. And he gave the perfect answer. He gave exactly what you're supposed to say, regardless if it may or may not be true. He said, last year, we did some good things. He said, I won some awards. He said, but those are individual awards. And at Alabama, it's about a team award. And he said, when we don't accomplish that, we consider that a failure. Now, that stuff's coming from inside the building. I mean, he's not just coming up with this for himself. Sure. That's the message inside that building, because Jordan Battle said pretty much the same thing. I mean, they're literally calling last year a failure. And that was the word that they used multiple different times. That was kind of a unanimous answer between the 3 players. And we've heard it before, like Nick Saban, don't waste a failure, don't do this, but I think they look back at last year, even though it was and I think that was Nick Saban's best coaching job. I mean, he took chicken poop on that offensive line and made chicken salad out of it. I mean, that offensive line was some of the worst I've seen in Tuscaloosa. I mean, 121 in the country out of 130 in protecting Bryce Young. Sacks allowed, they were 121 out of 130. And this young man won a Heisman Trophy running for his life.
All right, Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, on the Corona Premier Guest Line. He was in Atlanta all week. We got to see each other on Thursday, and that was fun. And we got to see Jimbo Fisher and Ryan's second favorite coach, Brian Harsin, with Auburn, and then Josh Heupel.
Hey, I was impressed. I was impressed with Leach and Kiffin. I want to. When you look at Lane Kiffin, there's no doubt he's taken some steps in the right direction. The way that he handles himself, sure. You can just see a different level of maturity with Lane Kiffin. So, and I thought both of them had great answers with the NIL. I like what Mike Leach said. He said, well, right now, he said the NFL has more parameters around their salary cap than we have in college athletics.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. So both of those coaches were impressive.
Did Leach or Kiffin work Radio Row at all?
I did not see Lane Kiffin. Leach came up and did, it's kind of funny. It's all based on your recruiting area and the way that they do interviews. Now, these hosts think it's all about them, okay? But I saw Leach go on in Jacksonville, Florida. I think he went on Houston, Texas, and I think that was it. So he did Houston and Jacksonville, and, you got Matt Hayes over there strutting like he just won the lottery, and, nobody wanted to rain on his parade and go, you're in Florida, that's the reason why he stopped at your table, right? I mean, it's not coincidence that he goes, hey, but you got to remember, in our business, the egos are so inflated that they think that, they are the show. But listen, Jacksonville's a hotbed of talent. I think he may have did Atlanta, Georgia, too.
Okay.
I think, but that angle was on the other. There was an L, Radio Row was an L. It was one line, and then the other line. I couldn't see the other end of the building. So,
right. Well, at least you got to see me.
Stopped at Atlanta too. I did, and it was good to do an interview in person, to be able to hang out, and we talked for a couple of minutes. And but they've improved some of that SEC Media Day coverage, and we had a really, really good week. If they can continue that, because it had got to the point
it wasn't worth going.
It was a waste of your. No, you were wasting your money. You might as well roll down the window and throw it out the window as you're driving down the street, because it had got, especially the last time we were in Atlanta, we got nothing. I mean, it was just garbage. This year, was probably one of their better years. So it's a gamble. It's like, it's like rolling dice over there. But if they'll continue this, and they'll continue to be able to provide some pretty good talent coming through there. I interviewed David Cutcliffe, Ronnie Brown, Takeo Spikes, an Auburn guy. Don't tell anybody, but interviewed him.
What was going on with you interviewing Auburn guys? I was surprised they didn't throw you off the air in Tuscaloosa. What happened there?
Well, here's what we're doing, okay? And so we're pretending like we feel sorry for them. It'd be like Ole Miss filming Mississippi State. We really don't feel sorry for them, but we say that we get where you are. Like, man, you guys have been through a rough time in the last few months, and we're kind of picking on their misery, to be honest with you. I mean, they're in trouble. I mean, poor old Brian Harsin. I really do, deep down inside. I mean, this is not a joke. I feel sorry for what that coach has been through. I mean, Bo, they put him through HELL. Look at what they did to him. Fire him. If he didn't want him, fire him. And now it's like he's just like a lame duck. He's just a guy. And you know what I hope happens? I hope he'll win 7 games, which is going to be really, really hard for him to do. And I hope he leaves, and I hope he goes somewhere else. Because this is the big thing. They're going to have trouble hiring a coach. And I know Hugh Freeze is a name that they want to talk and focus on, and they think they can get – this group thought they could get Urban Meyer last year, or whenever they hired Brian Harsin. So they went Bob Stoops for like the 40th time. We've heard that name every time Auburn's had a vacancy. But they're going to have trouble hiring a coach because this has become so much of a trend that you go back to Tommy Tuberville's days, you with the Bobby Petrino possibility hired. You go through Gene Chizik, you go through Gus. Every time Gus will lose a few games, all these things. Auburn does not hire coaches and they don't fire coaches properly. And that's a problem. And I think it will hurt them in the long run. And right now, they're fighting for that bottom in the SEC West. I voted at the bottom. And I don't think it's even a debate when you look at the talent level across the state.
Yeah, and, our buddy Dave Bartu said they had the second worst coaching staff in the league. Vanderbilt
you and I, it just so happened. Did you tell the audience what happened? We were sitting there talking about Derek Mason, and you had just said he's a great coordinator. And then Brian Harsin literally walked by, a foot and a half of where you and I were doing the interview. and then we reinforced it. I said, absolutely, Derek Mason was an excellent football coach. And he never even flinched. But we know he earned it. So,
man.
The key lie.
Ryan,
Derek Mason is a great football coach.
Oh, Derek Mason is one hell of a defensive coordinator. Gundy hit a grand slam on that. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, joining us on the Out of Bounds show and the Corona Premier Guest Line. What did you make of Jimbo Fisher dropping who the 3 permanent opponents could be? I don't know if you caught that, but he was kind of, how he talks so fast and he gets rolling, and I don't think he was thinking about it, or his mind wasn't catching up with his mouth. And what was it? LSU, Texas, and Mississippi State? Yeah. Did you hear that part, Ryan?
I did, but I was so busy listening to Jimbo live for so many different times. It didn't really register with me. It's like, okay, I heard it, and then I'm like, okay, well that's big news. But then I kept going back to, because Jimbo, guys, I have some major problems with integrity with Jimbo, and it goes back to Florida State. Remember now, the only time I've ever pulled for Auburn in my entire life was 2013 against Jimbo Fisher. And it was simply because of the way that they treated that young lady down there. I thought the way that the Jameson Winston situation went down, I thought the university should have did a little bit more to protect her rather than things that they did. Sexual assault is no joke. And I thought Florida State and Jimbo Fisher handled that really, really incorrectly. And, it was disappointing to see. And I know probably Title IX never got involved with the investigation because that's who handles, sexual assaults on campus. I don't have any respect for Jimbo Fisher. I don't. I have none, like zero. Like my scale of him is, I think integrity. He's got some major problems. I hope at some point he'll flip the script, but it's not impacted with what happened the last 2 months. My audience will tell you it's been there for quite a while. I mean, you talking about a guy that pulls for Auburn? I never have pulled for Auburn, but I did in that national championship game. It was hard too. So I have no respect for Jimbo Fisher.
Well, it will be. I can't wait to see what happens with A&M this year.
I'm doing my show in your state. I don't know if you told the guys over in Philadelphia, Mississippi, but I'm taking it. I'm taking it on the road, and I'm going to do my show that Friday, and we're going to place like a community bet on Alabama. We're going to start a GoFundMe account. Now we're going to clean Silver Star's their sports book up. I mean, they're going to be rolling out some cash, but we're laying the farm that game. Right, Alabama minus 14, 22, 36, whatever it is. Doesn't matter.
All right, Ryan Fowler's talking about Alabama hosting A&M October 8th, and hopefully Fowler will do the show there October 7th on a Friday, and he can put some money on it and win a bunch of money as Alabama's looking at revenge from last year. Didn't you have Will Anderson, the edge rusher defensive end, on the show too?
I did. I got all three. I don't know what media relations is trying to get out of me. I don't know if I don't know what I did to deserve that, but normally I don't get that type of treatment. But I did this week, and I even fired off a thank you note. I was like, "Hey, thank you guys for helping me out." Never got a response, by the way, but I did send off a thank you note. But anyway, I had all three.
Is the football SID over? I mean, I would think that, who is it? I don't even know.
It's Josh Maxson, but he doesn't handle the players. Okay. He just handles the.
Saban?
He handles the actual. Yeah, he handles Saban, and then Alex Thompson is the player guy.
Okay, all right. I didn't know.
I mean, we're big time. We're big time over here. I mean, we got to have two SIDs.
Two SIDs. When Saban walks in for his press conference, does everybody go quiet immediately? How does that work?
No, actually, they have. Cedric brings in the water bottle, and the water bottle and the Coke, which is a product display. It's a sponsorship that's already. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, they bring in a Coke and a water bottle. Now, you're not going to tell on me, are you?
No.
But a couple of years ago, I was real thirsty. It was after one of those hot games at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and there was a Coke sitting up there, and it was cold. And I thought to myself, I said, well, why waste a cold Coke? After Saban's press conference, I was thirsty, and so I drank Saban's Coke. Now, it wasn't open. I wouldn't drink after it. That's not what I'm saying. It was just a cold Coke there, so I just turned it up. And,
that is awesome.
I'd have something refreshing.
Did anybody know you did that?
No, I don't think so. Never got an email. But so Cedric walks in, and he puts the water in the Coke bottle there. And he walks out. Well, that's our little cue to get in, get ready, because here he comes. And he's as programmed as, he's walking to that stage like a fighter's going in for a heavyweight fight, in a boxing match. He's like, here he comes walking, gets up on that stage. It's like the camera's on, and he turns a different switch. And he hits that, and he nails it, right? Then he walks off the stage. Every now and then, when it's like one of those Saban rants, like the camera's off and he's walking off the stage, he'll look at us and grin. Every now and then. Not often, he'll look at us like, what you guys think about that? Like one of those rants, or, we know that he's talking to his players. So, that's the type of thing that, he likes to pull off. I mean, he does have a sense of humor. It's
sure.
a dry one, but
Sure.
yeah, I mean, it's funny at times. But tell you what, I mean, he's like you. I mean, you hit the radio lottery. You got prime time right there. Oh, I'm sorry, Coach Dion, and then also Michael Leach, and then Lane Kiffin.
Lane Train. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
when's the next time y'all have a press conference with Saban? Do you know?
all right. So we are 1 week and 3 days away from Alabama's first practice. Is my assumption that it'll be somewhere around that first couple of days. No, I don't think it's that far. I mean, I may have recalculated this. So we're about a week away from practice starting. We'll get that media availability, and then we'll get media day, which will be both coordinators, and that will be the only time. We get 4.5 minutes with coordinators. I mean, man, you can get a lot done in 4.5 minutes. I mean, you think I'm kidding you. And I'll never forget.
I didn't even know he did that.
Stage. Okay. Yeah, he does. Well, because it's not very much, but I remember Lane Kiffin, and he's like, yeah, I just walked out of the boss's office. He made sure I wasn't going to say anything I wasn't supposed to, and we all thought that maybe there was a shock collar underneath Lane's, like, jacket, and if he said anything wrong, Saban's back there with a remote, like, grr, grr, because, I mean, because Lane's great with the media. I mean, he'll tell you what you need, and so we all thought that he'd be out there with a shock collar, just if he did one of those impulse shock treatments. But Lane was all, like I said, I mean, we do appreciate you guys. You guys are training our future head coach. When Nick Saban steps down, Lane's coming to Tuscaloosa.
Lane Train to T-Town, baby. Hey, how boring is Bill O'Brien?
Well, I mean, I've only talked to him like 4.5 minutes. So, I mean, it's hard to judge. It's but usually he's solid. He was solid last time, and
yeah.
I mean, he's good. I mean, the question is he going to be dedicated enough to run the football? Because that's going to be a strength this year. I mean, that should be with Jameer Gibbs and that stable full of running backs, and the offensive line's much better at run blocking than they are pass protection. So,
Ryan Fowler, we got to get out of here. I appreciate it, buddy, and hold the fort down in Tuscaloosa.
Good to talk with you guys, man. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you, man.
Roll Tide, buddy. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, T-Town, afternoon drive, joining us on the Corona Premier guest line. Thanks for listening to the Out of Bounds show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. If you missed any of today or yesterday or any day, you can go to Apple Podcast or Spotify and search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. We'd love for you to do that, and we appreciate it. Show is brought to you by the delicious and amazing mouth-watering cheeseburgers and Philly cheesesteak sandwiches at Roosevelt's at Live Oaks Golf Club. That's Roosevelt's at Live Oaks Golf Club. Thanks for listening to the show, and we'll see you tomorrow.